What is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? So the NBA season is about a month away, and I wanted to make my list of the top 10 players in the NBA at the moment going into the 2021-2022 season. So I've seen a lot of people's lists on Twitter, and I wanted to give my own opinion, my own spin-off on it. I'm going to be ranking guys from 10 to 1 with 4 honorable mentions. And Kawhi Leonard will not be included in this list due to him just not playing next year or most of next year's season due to the injury. He would be number 5 if he were healthy. And remember, this is just my opinion, my list. If you guys have any disagreements on the list, let me know down below. And please give me your top 10 or your top 5 down below. If you guys do enjoy the videos, drop a thumbs up. I think I'm going to be posting a lot more of these on the second channel. And if this video gets 500 likes, I will make a tier list video of my top 50 or 75 players going into next year's season. And without further ado, let's get into this. So coming in at number 10, we have Anthony Davis of the Los Angeles Lakers. Anthony Davis was pretty disappointing last year, only playing 36 of the 72 regular season games and getting injured early in the playoff series in round 1 against the Phoenix Suns, which ultimately was the catalyst for the Lakers getting upsetted by the Suns. Davis did average 22 points, 8 rebounds. He shot almost a career worst 26% from 3 in his only season in his 9-year career where he shot below 50% from the field. He also had his lowest point total since his second season and by far his lowest rebounding season of his career. And it was also the lowest amount of blocks he's ever had. But Anthony Davis, when healthy, is still a top 10 guy in the NBA. You probably said he was like a top 7 guy last year, so he's dropped down to 10 in my opinion. He's still really good in the half court. He's still one of the more dominant big men in the league, and I'm excited to see him fully healthy next year because I think he could still reclaim that top big man in the league title potentially. Coming in at number 9, we have Damian Lillard. Dame is so freaking good, but it is just such a talented top 10 that I had to put Dame at 9, but you could put him as high as 6, and I'd be okay with that. Lillard literally puts the Trailblazers on his back. Without him, they would be a bottom 5 team in the NBA. Over the last 2 seasons, he's taken it to another level. He averaged 30 points in the 2020 bubble year. He averaged about 29 points per game last year. Also in those 2 years, he put up a career high in assists, 8 assists in 2020, 7.5 in 2021. So he's continuing to get better in the pick and roll, playmaking in transition, and pretty much his driving transition as well. You can really notice a difference over these last 2 years. He takes over 10 threes a night and hits about 40% of them. He's on another level. We saw him against the Nuggets in the playoffs. You could say he's the most clutch player in basketball, if not one of the best. I'd like to see maybe Dame on a different team one day or a different constructed roster. I just don't think him and McCollum will ever go to the NBA Finals together as long as McCollum is the second best player on that team. So we'll see if Dame's on another team where he doesn't have to be the number one 99% of the time. Coming in at number 8, we have Joel Embiid, who is still only 27 years old, so he's going to continue to get better. Last year was 100% the best season of his career, where he was the front runner in the MVP race, in my opinion, before he got hurt. Because he only ended up playing 51 out of the 72 games, but he had a career high in points in 28.5. A career high in field goal percentage at 51%, and was the first year of his career where he shot above 50% from the field. He also had the best 3-point percentage shooting of his career at 37%. And why not? Let's also have the best free throw percentage season of his career at 85%. It was by far his best season yet. I'm excited to see Embiid next year. We'll see who his sidekick is. Is it going to be Ben Simmons or is it going to be somebody else? We don't know yet. But either way, he's going to be one of the front runners in the MVP race, and he's going to hopefully lead the Sixers to a top 3 finish once again. Coming in at the number 7 spot, we have the reigning MVP, Nikola Jokic. It is crazy that I'm having the reigning MVP at number 7 in a top 10 player list. It's mind-blowing how talented the NBA is. And if you want to put Jokic a little bit higher at 6, I'd be perfectly fine with that. And Jokic just seems to be getting better and better. He's the youngest player that I have mentioned so far at 26 years old. And like Embiid, he had by far the best season of his career last year. I mean, I know, right? He won MVP. He played all 72 games. A career high in points at 26.4, which blows away his previous career high at 20.1 points per game that he set back in 2019. He tied his career high in rebounds at 10.8, set a career high in assists at 8.3, 56% from the field, career high, 38% from 3, one of the best in the league for a center ever. He was just on another level this year, and I mean, rightfully so. He won MVP. He's coming in at number 7 on my list, and I'd be okay if you had him a little bit higher. And coming in at number 6, we have James Harden. And the reason why I have James Harden in front of Nikola Jokic is just because James Harden's pretty much been better than Jokic every year besides last year. So that's why I didn't put Jokic in front of Harden yet. And Harden probably had his most down year in a while last year. It was because of the whole trade between Houston and Brooklyn. He only ended up playing 44 out of the 72 games. And even in his quote-unquote diminished role in Brooklyn, he still averaged 24.5 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds for a guard, shot 46% from the field, which almost ties his career high, 36 from 3, and 86 from the line. Harden is still a top 10 player in the NBA. I have him in at number 6, and he's kind of underrated at this point, in my opinion. Coming in at number 5, we have Luka Doncic, who's only 22 years old. It's absurd. Now, if you want to have Harden or Jokic in front of Doncic, that's fine with me. I won't argue too much on the Harden. If you say Jokic is better than Doncic, I don't think I can agree with that. Because Luka has just been on another level the last 2 years. Last year, he played 66 out of the 72 games. He shot 47 from the field on 21 shots a night. He shot 35 from 3, which is a great clip on over 8 attempts a night, and he improved that mightily from his 31% in 2020 going to that 35% last year. And oh yeah, this 22-year-old is averaging 27.7 points, 8.6 assists, and 8 rebounds. He is on another stratosphere. He's most likely going to be the number 1 player in the NBA, I would say in 5 years. It's going to be between him and another player we'll get to on this list who's just a little bit older. And he's only going to continue to get better and better and better. He's definitely going to win an MVP in the next 2 years. I think he's the favorite to win the MVP award this year, according to FanDuel, and he's coming in at number 5 on this list. And this is where Kawhi Leonard would have been if he were healthy and then dropped everybody down a slot, which means I would have had AD in the top 10. That's just crazy to say. Coming in at the number 4 spot, we have Steph Curry, who's probably one of the more underrated players in this top 10, just because I feel like he gets disrespected a little bit now because the Warriors haven't been great in the last 2 seasons, but he set a career high in points last year at 32 a night. I mean, he would have been the MVP if the Warriors were just any bit better and were a top 6 seed in the Western Conference, but their roster just wasn't good at all. And they dealt with a lot of injuries as well, but he was just absurd, shooting 48% from the field, taking over 21 shots a night, 42% from 3, on 12.7 attempts a night. That is actually mind-blowing. That is just one of the more mind-blowing stats that I've mentioned in this video. 91% from the line. Already mentioned his league-leading 32 points per game at age 32. I'm so excited to see him with Klay Thompson back. Wiseman's getting more experience. Wiggins another year in that system. We're going to see the cum bucket and Moses Moody. I'm excited. Curry could maybe get back into that top 3. I just couldn't put him there just because of the team success over the last 2 years. Coming in at number 3, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo. Yes, the reigning finals MVP. I'm having him come in at pick 3. I know, it might be a little bit disrespectful, but we have had so many guys between Giannis, Kawhi, Steph Curry win finals MVP. Well, not Steph, but you know what I mean about him. And just like, we could say that they're the number 1 player, but they never hold up to that stratosphere and be the number 1 player for multiple years. But with Giannis, I feel like if he wins the finals next year, he is no doubtedly the number 1 player in the league. I just want to see it again because the 2 players in front of him had just had so much more success over the last 5 years. That one finals MVP in which the 2 players ahead of him have multiple of. I just can't put him there yet unless he wins another one, but he is arguably the best defensive player in the league and arguably the best offensive player in the league. He is just so freaking good on both levels of the floor. The only knock on him is his shooting, but he doesn't need that. He's basically a center that puts up 28 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, which I think is the more underrated part of his game because that is not much further behind Nikola Jokic for a big man. Over a steal, over a block per game. He shoots 56% from the field. He carried this Bucks team with the second best player being Chris Middleton to win the NBA Finals. We got to give him the respect. He's top 3 100%. If you want to have him higher, I will not argue with you. I'm just putting him at 3 because the 2 players in front of him have just had a little bit more success over the last 5 years and are still playing at an elite level. So I'm not going to be boring. Coming in at number 2 is LeBron James. Yeah, I'm sure you maybe thought he'd be number 1, but he is number 2. He played 45 out of the 72 games this year. Injuries might be catching up to him with him getting a little bit older. He's going to turn 37, but he was still amazing last year in the games he played. 25 points a night, 8 assists, 8 rebounds, 51% from the field, 36 from 3, which is very good for LeBron. And I think, in my opinion, the Lakers would have went to the NBA Finals if it weren't for the Anthony Davis injury, which is a big if, and I'm not going to play woulda, shoulda, coulda. I just still think LeBron is still really good, and I'm not going to knock on him that first round exit and drop him out of the top 2. I'm going to keep him at number 2, and if they win it all this year, he's back in at number 1. And coming in at number 1 is Kevin Durant. Now, you might argue with me on that, because KD They ended up losing in round 2 last year. He didn't even play the year prior, but just what he did in Golden State those 3 years, he was arguably the best player on planet Earth. And I think last year, with the ball in his hands, now he did deal with some injuries, played only 35 out of the 72 games, but he's actually I think the only player in this league, maybe Damian Lillard as well, that when it's the game on the line, he shoots the ball from no matter where on the court. I think it's just going in. I think it's going in 99% of this time. This man is so good. He almost carried the Nets with injuries to Kyrie Irving and James Harden to beat the Bucks, who won it all. They ended up going to 7 games, and they were very close to beating the Bucks. It went to overtime. And I think Kevin Durant is the best player on planet Earth at this current moment. So yeah, that is it for me. Let me know what you think of the list down below. Do you agree or disagree? The 4 honorable mentions were Jimmy Butler, Paul George, Jason Tatum, and Devin Booker. If you think that one of those 4 guys should have been in, please let me know down below. Like I said, Kawhi would have been 5. You would have dropped down everybody on this list a spot, which means AD wouldn't have been in the top 10. It's just crazy to think about. But yeah, make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link in the description. Make sure you're following the Just Ballin' podcast or subscribe to that. It's absolutely free. Link in the description. I love you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.